It's time for another edition of SIRE TV, Success in Real Estate, with your host, Robert Burke. Join Robert and his guests, some of the country's leading experts on real estate investing, as they show you how you can purchase properties tens of thousands of dollars below true market value. So whether you are looking for your personal dream house, a fantastic rental property, or you want to buy, fix up, and resell for profit, this is the show for you. Robert will also share his amazing networks of lenders who are loaning on real estate all across the country. Your financial success is just around the corner. And now, the host of the Success in Real Estate program, Robert Burke.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the SIRE TV program, Success in Real Estate, where we cover all types of topics regarding real estate and how you can invest in real estate, profit, make money in real estate. We cover a lot of different topics. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, I have one of my most exciting guests, or I guess one of the guests that I like the best. And maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but I'm always excited when he's on the show. That's probably the best way to say it. His name is Matthew Elmer. He's with a group called the Real Alliance. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Hey, Robert. Glad to hear I'm one of the best.
Tell us real quickly a little bit about the Real Alliance. You've been on the show before and went into a little more detail, but just briefly tell us what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, the bottom line is we're innovating the way that real estate investing is taught to the individual. We're leading them from wherever they're at to creating a small business in real estate investing. And we do that through 4 pillars: providing education, providing systems, providing a support by experts that know what they're doing, and finally by creating a community.
Sounds good. Now, what we want to be able to do each week, or when we have you on this program, which will probably be most weeks, we want to take specific things. We want to get more into the specifics of the training that you have so people can get an idea of what it is that they can learn by going through your classes, going through your seminars, whether it's online or in person. I was listening to one of your teaching programs, and you talked about the 2 categories of real estate investing. Tell us briefly what those 2 categories are.
Yeah, so when people come into real estate investing, maybe they're used to stock investing and they know what that is, but they're not quite sure what real estate investing is. In my mind, there's 2 categories. There's traditional investing, which is what you maybe see on a channel, this channel, or one of the other channels out there where they're flipping properties, buying them, fixing them, and selling them, or the way in which you buy a property and rent it out. And so your rental property is what we call buy and hold. So that's traditional. But there's also another side of it, which is creative investing. And that's really, in my mind, the exciting side and what makes real estate investing available to anyone.
Well, we're going to be talking on the show this week. Matter of fact, I think we have some guys on, the next guest on our show is about hard money lending. And then I think next week we have some guys talking about different ways that they found properties and that kind of more the traditional type of way. And you see a lot of that. We kind of espouse a philosophy that there are lots of different ways to make money in real estate. There's not just one way. If somebody's telling you that their way is it, that, it is one of the its, but we like to talk about a lot of different its. So let's talk a little bit more about the unconventional. Give us an example of one of the creative, unconventional kind of forms of investing in real estate.
Yeah, well, it all starts with this concept that we call basically contractual or equitable interest. Okay, now I'm not an attorney, and all of your viewers need to get their own attorney, but what I understand is this, is that essentially you and I have the ability to go and gain interest in things. For instance, if I was going to sell you my iPhone here, and we came up with an agreement today that I'll sell this to you after I erase all my data in a couple weeks for $200. And you said, hey, I like that idea, I want to buy it from you for $200 as long as it's in the same condition as it is today. So we could go ahead and write up a contract, and 2 weeks from now I would sell that to you for $200. Now in that time frame, you could go out there and maybe talk to one of your other employees or students or somebody else that you know and say, hey, I've got an iPhone that I'm going to have in a couple weeks. I can sell it to you for $300. It's below market rate. Would you be interested in buying? And you could go ahead and write up a contract with them. I could then sell this to you in 2 weeks, and you, because of the interest that you have, could then turn around and sell it to them, making $100 off of that phone. Well, real estate works the same exact way. It's essentially an interest that you can gain in a property by simply creating an agreement between 2 parties.
You know, when I was listening to that and following that example, and you took it from the cell phone to real estate, it took me back to my first deal, basically. The very first property that I put under contract, and I didn't really know much of anything. I probably thought I knew more than what I did now when I look back on it. But the first property, I had some realtors who were helping me. They really kind of took me under their wing, and I'm always thankful for that. But I found a property and I was able to put it under contract, and it was about 50% of its real value. It really was. I put it under contract for $100. I had to give $100 earnest money, and I had 30 days to close that property. So basically, like in your story, I controlled that asset, that property, for 30 days. And really, if somebody had come along and offered them more for it, they couldn't sell it because I controlled that property.
And that's exactly right. We see this with companies, right? They have accounts receivable, money that's owed to them because of agreements that they have written. So we're using these kinds of concepts, but doing it with real estate contracts. And so just like you saw with yourself, it takes very little knowledge. Now, it does take some specific knowledge, and a lot of people get fearful about the contract. And so we can step them through a process where they're now go from fearful to confident, and they can go in there and talk confidently with someone and get a deal done and make maybe it's a few $1,000s. We have a student, one of our students that been struggling to get started in real estate because he's been through a bunch of other programs, joined our program and just made $5,000 on a deal just like you described.
Well, and one day I want to have, we had a guest on our radio show, one of your clients, and he told this story about how he had done a couple of deals, and he was kind of like me. I mean, it really could have been my story. If I wouldn't have been able to do something with these first couple of deals, I would have never gotten into real estate. I would have been so discouraged and frustrated and ashamed and embarrassed because I wasn't able to do it. This happened to one of your students. He'd done a couple of deals and he was ready to walk away because they were disasters. And he decided to go through one of these classes, through your class, and his success story was unbelievable. We have to have him on the show one time.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to Cameron, is his name, and we'll make sure that we get him on here. Now, I mean, he went from being a manager at a pizza restaurant to 25 deals in his first year.
Well, the reason I bring him up is that he's not the exception, really. You've got people who, and we've talked about this too, that you have people who have no real knowledge about real estate and they're scared, but they want to do it. They want to learn, and your program is perfect for that. But also, it's perfect for that guy who's been doing it but wants to increase his knowledge.
Yeah, we have a lot of our students that have done 15, 20, 25 deals but realize they don't have systems. They don't have processes. They have some technical knowledge, but they're missing really how to become a business owner. And so what we really, once again, take pride on is leading individuals to small business success, and we really focus on the systems of it all. How do you create systems so that you can do it over and over? Because just like you can cash flow through residential properties that you buy and rent, which we love, you can also cash flow through a business that you create. Through creating the right systems, hiring the right people, and putting those things into place, you can have just as much freedom there. I mean, I went to Puerto Vallarta this last weekend. My business actually brought in money while I was down there because it's a business.
Well, I want to go back a second about the contracts. The first deal that I did, I ended up selling that property and made about $650. Yeah. Now, I went through a learning curve over the next 30 days, and I learned how to do it better. Yes. And the next deal, very similar deal, and I made $6,000, almost 10 times as much. But if I had had somebody giving me that teaching and training, I could have made that on my first deal. And so I still look at that today as the money that I lost on that first deal, although it was good and I made money and I was happy and it kept me going. But that's something that somebody can get out of going through one of your programs.
Yeah, and how much money did you use of your own money?
I used $100, and I think I had $109 in the bank. You know,
and that's the beautiful thing about creative investing, as opposed to the traditional investing. You can do it with, maybe it's $1,000, often it's $100, sometimes even $10, depending on what state you're in and what interest you need. And so, with the right strategies in place and just a little bit of money and the right knowledge, you can really go out there and start yourself off, and it may be $650 your first deal. My first deal, I made $23,000. It wasn't the best deal I ever did.
Always have to outdo me, right?
Well,
I understand.
but then it creates what I call the addiction, but it's the kind that your spouse is okay with. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then it causes her to get addiction.
Yeah.
Maybe all of us. Well, if somebody wanted to learn more about this, they can go to the SIRETV.tv website.
Yes.
And what are they going to see there that relates to the Real Alliance?
Yeah, we're going to have on your site the ability for them to click and get a free training from. I want to give all of your viewers an opportunity to spend a little bit more time with us and get some real in-depth training on how to analyze their deals. So they just go to the website, click on the free training, and we're going to give that to them for free. And then if they want more opportunities, we do have some books, a book that I've written alongside Brian Tracy, and we're going to have some other opportunities for them to get a hold of the information that they need so that they can really experience what you and I have.
Okay, and one other thing I want to add, because we've got to leave, is that any training programs that you have, by going to our site, they can save money on too, right?
Yes, definitely make sure they do, because they're going to get a discount, very hefty discount compared to what they're going to pay otherwise.
Again, go to the SIRETV.tv website. You'll see that information. Again, Matthew, great to have you on the show, man. It's always each week when we have you on, we're going to talk about specific things, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, I've got some content in mind for next time.
Okay, great. Hey, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
We'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
The SIRE TV program, brought to you in part by Appraisal Save, your half-price nationwide home appraisal service. Sherman Bridge, America's #1 rehab lender.
Welcome back, everybody. I want to thank Matthew Omer from the Real Alliance. Again, go to our website, check out the information in regards to some of his teaching and training programs. It is fantastic. I said when he was here that he was one of my favorite guests. I need to also say that my next guest is also one of my favorite, Kurt Carlton. He's with a company called Sherman Bridge. They do hard money lending. They basically know the pulse of the investor out there. They know the pulse of real estate. They do loans for rehabbers, loans for investors. And we've had him on the show before and we've talked about that. But he has a sister company that has bought and sold over 3,500 properties. Their hard money lending company has loaned out close to $100 million. And so I want to welcome him to the show. We want to talk a little bit more about that and where the market is going to. Kurt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks
Great
for having me.
to have you back.
It's okay to have more than one favorite.
That's true. I'm sorry. Tell us, you're an expert in real estate. Tell us where you see real estate going, the real estate investing market, the mortgage business. You know, you're the expert with this. Tell us where you see this going.
Well, I think there's a real paradise for house flippers right around the corner, and I'll tell you why I think that. If you go back to 2008, 2009, you could get a house on any corner. Neighborhoods were deteriorating. There was deals everywhere. And your job back then was to do your best to rehab the house, you know, market it all day long, put flyers on the neighbors' doors. You know, you couldn't just hire a realtor. And if you sold the property, you made a bunch of money because you were able to buy the house for next to nothing. And now you notice the big swing as everything comes back. You know, you've got all these families that have grown and they haven't been able to buy real estate because they were scared. But now they're making money again and the stock market's back up and they're confident again. And there's all this interest that's been pent up to buy houses just coming out right now. So the market is artificially tight. And that's good and bad. If you're a real seasoned real estate investor, you're probably complaining you can't find enough deals. But when you do find that deal, you don't have to worry so much about repairing it perfectly and marketing it until the cows come home. If you find the deal, your job is pretty much done. Your job is just finding the deals now. So if you put it out there, you sell it very fast in a matter of days. You can see just about every market in the U.S., it's about the same. What we're going to see happening in the future, I think, because we track this very closely. I mean, we bought 3,500 houses since 2008, and we're really paying attention to this stuff in addition to lending the money. But there's several things that are happening right now. You've got three big headwinds that are approaching the U.S. economy. You got Basel III, which is a big thing that's affecting banks, driving up prices, cost for banks rather, and that's going to funnel down. You got Dodd-Frank that rolled out, that's going to be in place in the next couple of years, that's affecting everything. And you've got the Affordable Health Care Act, which is going to limit jobs and push things down. You know, for good or bad, we don't know, but it is going to have that effect as companies start to get under that 50 employee mark and start to put people on part-time versus full-time. Taxes are raising, so people have a less discretionary income. So whenever you mess with jobs and discretionary income, it doesn't bode well for real estate. So we're going to take a little bit of a dip, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually a great thing. The housing market, it needs to have that reset. You know, you'll see the stock market, I think, take a little bit of a dip and have that readjustment as well. And it's going to slow down everything just enough where you've got the deals available again, where you can go in and find houses.
Over the years, because you've been doing this for a long time, and I know since 2008, your company has bought and sold over 3,500 homes. But you talk about these ebb and flows of the market, but don't they all kind of, in a sense, even out? When properties are like they are now, that they sell really fast, they're harder to find, but the advantage is they sell really fast when you find them. And I just have found over the years that you can always make money in real estate. If you can't, you're just making excuses.
Yeah, I mean, if you make money when you buy, that's the key. You buy a discounted property. A lot of these guys that got burned in the crisis and all that were guys, you know, out of California that were buying for long-term appreciation, which, you know, we don't buy for that. We make money when we buy it, sweat equity. But I think it's going to be great in the future, and there's money to be made in the ups and the downs. Obviously, we're investors, but and we've kind of proven that. We were buying in 2008. We're certainly buying even more now, even though it's a little bit tighter of a market for us because we've grown. But the reason I think it's going to be so great is there's more deals, and you may take your days on market from 2 days to 2 weeks. So what?
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to
that kind of money. So what?
We're not going to come into another crisis. These banks have rebounded. They're here to stay. We've learned that we're not going to see some huge dip, but we're going to see enough of a dip where it's going to be a good thing for the market, or a good thing for real estate investors, that is, where they can find houses again. But if you're a new real estate investor, now is a better time than ever to buy. And the reason that is because the risk is the lowest. The reward may be lower than typical, but the risk is the lowest. What I mean by that is if you can find a house, you're probably going to make money on it.
Yeah, so explain it a little bit more in detail for us. Basically what you're saying is that it may be a little bit harder to find properties right now, but you're able to sell them at a higher price, so therefore it kind of evens out, right?
Exactly. You know, when you're buying properties deeper, you may have slightly more margins, and it's true you can sell them for a little bit more, but the margins are thinner right now because there's so much activity in the marketplace. But if you can find that deal out there, there's less risk of you to lose money. You may not make as much, but there's less risk of you to lose money because the market is so active. They're just harder to find.
How about the financing side of this? How has that changed, and what do you see in the future with that side of the business?
Well, financing has come back in a big way. We've obviously lowered our rates all the way down to 7.99% for real estate investors on a hard money loan, which is pretty low, pretty high by bank standards, but real estate investors don't use bank loans for a million reasons. But we've come back and we've seen a lot of people enter the marketplace, but we think financing is going to get more expensive, not less expensive. And I'll give you an example. This $100 million that we're lending out this year, you know, a large portion of that is just private investors, just average guys that want to get an 8 to 12% return on their money, and they give it to us and we lend it out. But another large portion is banks. You know, we have bank lines with banks. Well, when you do Basel III and you do Dodd-Frank and all that, that's going to create a huge regulatory burden on these banks, and their costs are going to go up, and they're going to pass that cost along to their borrowers. So the cost of borrowing money from banks for our credit lines and things like that, which most hard money lenders rely upon, are going to increase dramatically, not only as rates increase, but also just because of the regulatory factors.
Well, you know, as an investor myself over the years, because I was buying properties cheap, selling them, and doing all that pretty fast, you know, the rate never really bothered me that much. It was really the ease of getting the money. And we've all heard about how hard that is. You can forget about going to banks and trying to get rehab loans. Where do you see that going? Is that going to get easier? Is that going to get better? Where's that in the future? What's it going to happen?
There's always a place for hard money lenders in the market. There's always a place for a guy that can fund a deal in 5 days. You know, there's always going to be a need for that. There's a lot more of them in the market when the market's good, and there's a lot less of them in the market when the market's bad. But we'll see the same increase in hard money lenders come into the table. It's just their rates that will increase. But that'll be okay because the margins that you'll get on properties will increase as well.
As a hard money lender and somebody who invests or loans money to real estate investors, if that rate goes up, but it becomes harder for people to get it through normal financing means, it's a really good deal for you guys and really it makes what you're doing a more of a service for the investor out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we were a huge service back in 2008. Because we were the only guys dumb enough. We're the only guys dumb enough to lend money back then, right?
Yeah, that was it back in the days.
Sure, absolutely.
But even in the future, you guys are going to be there. You're going to be there for the rehabbers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Business has been good. I don't plan on going anywhere.
I just don't want you going anywhere. And you've done $100 million worth of loans, so I hope that's only going to go up and up and up.
Yeah, well, we've done a lot more. We'll probably do $100 million this year. And we just want to keep increasing it and continue to expand. Now, we've expanded probably a lot slower than we could have, but obviously we're a finance company, so.
Well, and I want to tell our listeners, too, that we do have hard money lenders around the country. Sherman is based here in Texas, and they're kind of our spokesperson for our show. And the reason we have you here is because of your knowledge, because of your experience in this business, probably more so than just about anybody I've ever met. If they want to get some information about hard money loans, where would you send them? What would you tell them?
Well, I'd go right to your website. I think our information's on there, SIRE.TV.
Right, very good. I threw that back to you to make sure you're going to do it right. Okay. You did great. Yeah, you can go to SIRETV.tv, and we have a link there for Sherman Bridge and our hard money lenders, and you can go there and check that out and get information, and they'll be glad to help you. Again, Kurt, hey buddy, it's great to have you on the show. I know we're going to have you on most of the shows. We're going to talk about different topics each week. You guys are the man. You have the experience of probably nobody else out there, and I appreciate you being on here. Look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, again, don't go away. We'll wrap up the show.
The SIRE TV program, brought to you in part by New Western, America's #1 source for investment properties. The Real Alliance, leading individuals to success through real estate investing.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the first two segments of our show and our guests. They're special friends of mine, and they're special companies. Matt Elmer with the Real Alliance has some of the most fantastic training programs if you're wanting to learn how to get into this business and really want to learn it from the ground floor, from A to Z, as I like to say. They've been doing this for a long time. Something we didn't talk about too much this show that we have in past shows is their mentoring program. They have a program, and I think it's one of the things that sets it apart, because you see a lot of training programs that are out there where you can buy books and tapes and you can go to a seminar when a guy comes through town. But these guys are available for you to sit down and call them up if you're outside of the Texas area, which is where they're based. You can come in and see them. You can meet them in person. They are there for you. They continue to be there for you. And I just like that. I wish that I had had that when I got started. I was able to find some mentors, but I had to really go searching for them. And some of them didn't really like me so much because I was always pestering them. But these guys, it's not like that. And the other thing too is that we do have an arrangement with them where our listeners, our viewers, can get special deals to their training programs, all the way from their little one-day deals, their books, their tapes, all the way to their big mentoring program, which you really need to check into. But be sure to go to the SIRETV.tv website and click on the link there. We have more information, more detailed information about the different training materials that they have available and their programs and the company itself. But by going to the SIRETV.tv website and clicking on the link, you will get special discounts because you're one of our viewers. So be sure and do that. The other thing too that I want to stress is that this show in weeks to come will be talking about many different ways that you can make money in real estate. The traditional way of going out there and learning how to do this from start to finish, that's great, and that works for a lot of people. But there are a lot of people out there also who don't have the time to do that, or are looking more for a passive approach into real estate investing. And I promise you, we're going to cover a lot of different ways over the next coming weeks. This show is not going to be the same week after week. We'll have some of the same guests on, but we'll also have different guests on and talking about different ways that you can make money. I know when I got started, I wanted to go from start to finish. I wanted to learn it all. But we've had a pilot on this show who has a full-time job. He doesn't want to lose that job. I wouldn't if I were him either. He doesn't have the time to do that. And so we spend some of these shows talking about ways that you can do that. I'll tell you right now a little secret. You can go to our website, to the SIRE.TV website, and you will see we have many properties that are listed there from rehabbers that we do business with that are allowed to list their properties on our site well below market value. You can take a look at those. Do your own due diligence, check them out, see if there's one in your area. But these are great deals. These are great deals for the person who doesn't have the time, the inclination to go out there and learn this business from the ground floor, doesn't want to go through a training program like the Real Alliance. We'll also be talking in future shows about purchasing notes and how you can do that to invest, how you can invest in other companies who invest in real estate. Lots of different ways to make money in real estate. And again, I also want to thank Kurt Carlton from Sherman Bridge, who is kind of our spokesperson for our hard money lenders. We have hard money lenders around the country. Again, on the website, you'll see a link there. Let us know which area you're in, which state you're from. Send us a comment on our website, and we'll get back with you and tell you who the hard money lender is that we recommend in your particular area, your particular state. Kurt and his company basically are in Texas, kind of branching out. They've been doing this for a long time. They know this business backwards and forwards. Again, on our website, you can check out more information about them. You can check out more information about our hard money lenders. It's a great key. It's a great success tool. It is another tool that we have on our site that will help you make money in this business. This business doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be intimidating. It's not get rich quick, I'll tell you that. There are certain things you need to learn, but we hopefully will provide you as many of those tools as possible. That is our purpose. That is our goal with this show, is not just focus on one thing. You'll see I'm not promoting myself or a product of my own. We have companies here that we really feel can help our listeners become successful in real estate. So just, go to the website, check it out, SIRETV.TV, and every week on this show we're going to have more guests. I know next week we have a guest who's going to be on talking about properties that these rehabbers have found for him and how that works for him. Note buyers, how you can invest in real estate by purchasing owner-financed mortgages. Just so many different ways. This show is kind of the end-all be-all in regards to that, and we won't just be talking about one thing. Again, I appreciate you for being here. Be sure to check out the website, SIRETV.TV, for all of that. Check out our Premium Buyers Club that we have. Fantastic program where we have products and you can purchase and go to stores and get great discounts just for being involved with us. Again, thanks for being here. Look forward to having you next week on the SIRE TV program. Check out SIRETV.TV. Until next week, God bless and continued success.
Thank you for watching the SIRE TV program. For more information regarding the contents of this show, please visit our website at SIRETV.TV.